Welcome back, everybody, to ReelTime RoundTable. We got a full list of stuff to talk to you about today. We are talking Joker, Folie, Deux review, non-spoiler. We have, Creature of the Black Lagoon has a new writer. Rugrats is doing a hybrid live-action animated movie. We have Companion and Nosferatu trailers, which is going to bring our discussion of the week. What are some of our favorite classic movie monsters from 1920s to the 1990s? Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to ReelTime RoundTable, where we give you the best Hollywood-related news here on YouTube. I'm your co-host, Josh Williams.
I'm your co-host, Jordan Burke.
I'm your talent, Jaden.
Isaiah Townley.
It's good to have you guys back on the show. How was your guys' weekend?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Mine was great until I saw Joker.
Oh,
wow.
Starting off on a bad
foot. But if you notice, we got a bunch of stuff back here on the table.
We did.
We're going to add some more creepy stuff as Halloween goes along. I don't know if you can cut the cam for. I have my Jason Friday the 13th shirt on. You were going to wear your Scream one.
I know, I'll wear it next week.
You're wearing
for
next
our
week.
discussion
For our
next
discussion.
week. So you better join in next
week. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, let's just get started. Let's
Jump in.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Here we go. All right, so over the weekend, we all watched Joker, Folie, Deux, which I actually found out means shared delusion of two, which makes sense given the fact of the movie. This is non-spoiler. I will preface that for everybody who is listening or watching. We're not going to give away any spoilers as best as we can, because there's some things I may have to allude to a little bit. But after it got released, it has an audience score. So Cinema Score releases, like, people asked what they would grade it. It has a D on Cinema Score, which audiences are averaging a D. Right now it's sitting at 33% on critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes and 31% on the audience rating for Rotten Tomatoes. It had a $200 million budget, and over the weekend only made $121.1 million, which is terrible, because if you think double the budget this thing is $400 million budget when you count for the advertising, because you got double. You basically, that's what you count for. So yeah, this is the sequel to what I consider a masterpiece of the original Joker, and it's still directed by Todd Phillips. It still stars Joaquin Phoenix and now Lady Gaga. All right, we all went and saw this. You guys have all seen the first one, I'm assuming, correct? You guys did, have seen all that. We're gonna start off with Jordan. You went and saw the movie.
I did.
What did you think?
I really wanted to like it, and I don't think it was terrible.
Nice.
I don't think it was horrible, and I think Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the writing. I didn't like necessarily. I thought the storyline was really good, but I didn't really connect with it. I don't know what the issue was. But I just wasn't into it. I think sadly something they kind of missed was, if you're going to have Lady Gaga and promote it as a musical with as big of a voice that she has, they only showed it once, really. Everything else was just very, light, and her falsetto. She can belt, and they barely touched on that. I do think Joaquin Phoenix has also showed his musical talents. Again, he did in Walk the Line. I think he's very underrated as a singer, but
yeah.
I just don't feel like the script, I don't feel like the writing hit very well.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
we can all agree that.
For sure.
I will say, I don't think Joaquin Phoenix was as good in this one as the original. I feel like there was more depth to his performance, because I think the character had more depth. Well, I'll get into that myself. But what did you think about it, Isaiah, was bad for you? Jordan says the script. I have my thoughts on it, but what really stood out to you is, like, first off, did you even like it? I guess I'm assuming.
Yeah,
or not.
well, I think I was here for the first trailer when it dropped, and I really tried not to let my first initial thoughts and also what everyone was saying online affect what I was going to, affect my perception, I guess, when I was going to go see it. And there was a lot I did actually enjoy, just like Jordan, and I really did want to like it. I sat through the whole thing. I didn't walk out like a lot of people say online. There's a lot I did like, but for me, the writing was really poor. I did not. I think a few of the musical sections, a few of them were executed better, but every single time I would ask myself, is the scene pulling me into the movie or pushing me away? And every single time one of those musical things happened, it would push me away, and I felt like I was no longer in the movie. I was so detached, and I just feel like you said, the character itself was very flat. It would just like it wasn't that it was of depth. He would just swap from one type to the next.
Yep.
He would be Joker in one scene, and then he would be Arthur, and then he would be a conflicted Arthur.
Which I will say, I don't mind that duality because they're kind of exploring that in this, but to me, they were regressing his character development to the point where he was just basically back to where he was in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I find it funny we're all bashing. Joaquin's giving you quite a dirty look behind your shoulder there.
I gave you my money. I gave you my money.
All right, Jaden, you went and saw it as well. Do you like the first one, right?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so coming into this, do you have high expectations or medium?
I love musicals, love Lady Gaga. Joaquin, he's decent, right? Right? I don't think it needed to be a musical. I think the only reason why they did that was because Lady Gaga was in it. She's a great actress, as we've seen, but I don't understand why it was made. I feel like we didn't learn anything new about them. I thought it was going to be like the backstory about like how they met maybe, or like something sort of like that, but it just wasn't.
Yep.
I did love the dynamic between Lee and the Joker. I thought that was amazing until the end, when it was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
And now it's just over.
Yeah, and okay, so if a movie has more good or bad, or more bad than good, as long as the good can outweigh that bad, I'll give it a pass.
I see.
This did not. I walked out more frustrated than anything. In the ending, I almost yelled out a curse word for the very ending.
I did.
You did. Okay, good. I wasn't the only one. Sorry, I'm hitting the table like I'm not supposed to. Kayla's probably cursing me out right now. Our esteemed director who's back there. No, the ending really made me angry. I get what they're trying to do. Basically, I'm not going to give away the ending, of course, but they're playing on the idea, especially this whole movie, and you can kind of see it in the trailer. That's why I can say this without giving anything away. Just like the Batman, they're using the Joker as a symbol of something, a symbol or a symbolism of something, of an ideology, of the of that culture, of that world. I get that, but no, I'm sorry, but no, that ending really made me angry, and the regression of his character. It just, if you watch the first one, if you watch these back to back, they would become two completely different movies as far as the character of Joker and Arthur Fleck. At least that's how I viewed it. And then I remember going into this, and I remember a lot of people here remember me saying this on the show. I was worried about the music aspect of it, being a musical. Not because I don't like musicals. I love musicals. But for this, and I remember Nolan, he made up, it could be an idea of like it's in their heads, which I don't want to give away what if it is or not, which I think you can assume it probably is. It's in their heads as far as what they're doing. But even when they weren't having those big numbers that you see in the trailers, there are moments when they're just singing amongst one another, which if you know the movie, you can I can maybe give it a pass. But anytime they had the big musical numbers, usually with musicals, when you have big musical numbers, they're supposed to help propel the story, help propel characters, propel something. They don't really do that, in my opinion. At least if you guys saw something different,
what I felt is that they were in the musicals. They were just saying exactly what information was already told.
Yes, exactly.
So that was the issue, was that it was just repeating it.
Yeah.
So it would be like, oh, I don't want blah 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 to go, and then they would sing, I don't want blah 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 to go. It's like, come on. It's like, this is just a waste of time, and they do it so often.
And that for me is what the big problem was. It's in the screenwriting, of course, is it completely destroyed the pacing. Like anytime the music would come up, it just like it would destroy the pacing. Like there's great moments when he's in this jail, when he's in the courthouse. The scene, the best scene of the whole movie was his Puddles when he goes to take the stand.
That made me laugh.
The best scene, the whole movie, the
was
drama
so
in that was
Yeah.
so
Totally
good,
agree.
and they went back to exploring that aspect, a psychological aspect of Arthur and Joker. Like you can see it. That writing part was, loved it. But again, they go back to doing other stuff, which completely derailed it. At least that's for me. Last thing I'll bring up, and I can take it back to you guys if you have any more last minute thoughts before we give our reviews. Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Now, for what she was given, did she do a good job? Yes, she did a great job for what she was given. But what she was given was a pile of dog crap.
Wow.
Sorry, we don't get all we learn. I'm not gonna give away what because we will admit it's kind of the same character of what you know in the comics, but it's a little different, at least for her motivations. And again, her motivations. If anybody disagrees, please say her motivations made no sense. She would do these things, and every time I go, okay, why? You're doing this, okay, why?
Because then she doesn't.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm left scratching my head more than enthralling myself in a character, which is to me a big problem in a movie. If a movie has to make you start questioning things, it takes you out completely. So I mean, those are my biggest ones. I can't really give in too much more specifics. I will say on my YouTube channel on ReelTime, I'm going to be doing a spoiler review. I might get with some of you guys if you guys want to zoom in. We could just do a little spoiler review on my channel, kind of get into the weeds of it. I will put my link of my channel in the description box below. I believe it's already there. I believe. But anyways, last minute thoughts. We'll go around robin. Any overall thoughts and what would be your score?
I really wish they had showed Lady Gaga a little more insane because I think her reasoning for being there is a little insane. I really wish they would have pushed into it, and I completely agree about the music. I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't think they should have copied Chicago, but in Chicago they use these massive musical numbers to push the scene. They don't just say, oh, well, this is happening, and then let's go into a number. You learn so much information in that number, and I think by taking two characters that are crazy and insane and psychotic and having them do these massive musical numbers, if they executed it well, I think it could have been so cool. And it just kind of dropped a little.
And I agree. What she was like, how she did what she did is a little insane. But I kept feeling the why to explore. You have this movie's like almost what? How long was this movie?
Over
it's like 2 hours.
2.5 hours. Almost 2 hours and 15 minutes. So much time to explore the motivations.
Yeah.
Because they give some backstory, but it's only a little
some.
bit.
We were just told one thing, and you're kind of like, oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. That's all I got.
What score would you give it?
I think it tried, and I can see elements that worked. So I'm gonna give it a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
It tried. I think genuinely it did try. I think Joaquin Phoenix is great. I think Lady Gaga is a great actress.
But man, yeah.
But that's all.
All right, Jaden. Overall thoughts and your score.
I was gonna give it just a little bit more.
No, that's fine. No, it's perfectly fine.
I'm just starting to really get into like superhero-esque movies, and this didn't make me want to continue that journey. But I do see how people like these kinds of movies. But I was gonna give it like a 7.
Okay. Hey,
I feel like
if you enjoyed it that much, that's cool.
A 7 minus the last like 45 minutes.
Okay. Okay, then
that's
like,
a lot
drops
of movie.
off.
Yeah.
Then it drops off from there. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's all fair. All right, Isaiah. Overall thoughts.
I feel like I really agree with Jordan. It's like there's so many ideas that could have worked. And I think they did really try. And for like I said, the first beginning of the movie, I really was into it, and I was like, "What are people talking about?" Like I like this movie, and then it just started to really get all tangled up, and then untangled and retangled. So I want to give it a 5. I think my heart says give it a 5, but if I didn't watch the first Joker, and if I wasn't into it, I think I would give it more like a 3.
See, I would have gone with my heart. But what they did with this movie and this franchise is they ripped its heart out, so I'm not going to give it any leeway, in my opinion. This movie, I had such high expectations. I will say there wasn't supposed to be a sequel. Like, this movie was meant to be a standalone, and that's it. That's how Todd Phillips did. But the studio saw dollar signs because at the time before Deadpool and Wolverine, it was the highest grossing R-rated movie. So like, ooh, let's just make another. And Todd Phillips was hesitant to do it, and so even Joaquin Phoenix was. But they went ahead and they got him on and did all this, so it shows that there wasn't supposed to be a sequel. The pacing is off. The actors are incredible. Of course they are. All of them were. Even down to Brendan Gleeson, who was his head guard who's in the prison. He's awesome. But it doesn't save the pacing of it, the musical numbers, destroying the pacing, and the ending was just the cherry on top for me. Like after that ending happened, I just nope. I'm giving this movie a 3.5 out of 10. This, I mean,
It's so low.
it is, and I will respect your decision for a 7. But I will say this, and I will preface this. This is just me. Most of the time, I will say if you like the movie, great. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you enjoyed the movie because all movies can be very subjective. But for this movie, I don't know how anyone found enjoyment out of it and give it a positive score. That's me. And I hate that I have that mentality, but this movie, just on a filmmaking structural level, is not good. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. I hate that. But yeah.
But you can give it a 7.
You can give
if
it a
you
7.
liked it, you liked it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
It was so pretty.
The cinematography was great. I will give you the cinematography. It was beautiful.
I made it.
But everything, it just, again, the bad outweighed the good in this one for me. So, all right. What did you guys think of the Joker? Leave your comments section below. Give us your positives and your negatives and your score out of 10. Please keep it non-spoiler related. And we'll get into hopefully some spoiler discussions on my YouTube channel on Real Time so we can have some fun there.
Right on. Up next, James Wan has remade The Creature of the Black Lagoon, or he's remaking it. It's not done yet. But that new remake has found its new writer, and it's Sean Toretta. Am I saying that right? Sean Toretta, who he's done a couple things, but the thing I really know him from is Star Trek Picard. Was he wrote it? He co-wrote it. I don't really know.
Yeah, he co-wrote
the
whole show. Yep.
But with this franchise being handed over to James Wan, that also means it's being handed over to the Insidious team, which I think very interesting. Very interesting move.
Insidious team.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to go around. What are your thoughts? Josh, I want to start with you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this being remade, and also with it now being in the hands of what right now is a really big horror franchise?
Oh yeah. Anything James Wan touches, I trust. Even if he's just a producer, like even his ones that he produces that are mediocre are still good enough to revisit. So I'm excited for this. Like I think isn't he also producing his studio producing Wolfman?
Yes.
He is. Okay. Now I will say in this article it did preface that they're not starting a monster movie franchise. Like they're not going to cross over like the Invisible Man, Wolfman in this one. There are their own. I think they're finally realizing they shouldn't try that and just do standalones, which I'm all for. But yeah, the writer I'm intrigued to see because I looked at his resume and there's nothing really horror that stood out to me. But either way, I mean, as long as you can tell a good story, James Wan has that flair to make it scary, at least as far as the producer can go. I like the news. I'm excited the fact that it's James Wan's he stepped away now from DC, from Aquaman. He's going back to roots, doing more horror stuff. I'm all for it.
I'm for it. Jaden, what do you think?
I'm never really a fan of remakes for movies.
Yeah.
No, honestly, no matter what it is, like the new Wolfman movie, I'm excited for it, but I don't think it's going to be better than the original. I loved that movie. I think it's going to be the same thing with this one, that it's like the story's not going to change. They're just redoing it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same opinion of you. I love James Wan, and that was kind of some of the first things that really got me into horror and start to like it. So I don't know. I'm excited for it. It's not really something that's necessarily super on my radar right now, where it's like, I have certain movies that are on my list. I'm waiting to watch this for years. But I'm interested to see what he does. I think this is a character that could be really interesting. It's definitely a little bit different than other sort of horror monsters that have been coming out lately. So I'm excited to see what he could do with it. And also, I'm sure the water effects, he worked on Aquaman, so I'm sure he knows people, who are good with that kind of stuff. So to me, that makes it seem like the special effects are going to be really cool.
What I'm excited about is that this is I had to look it up to be sure. This is the first remake of Creature of the Black Lagoon since 1954. Like we've had Dracula remakes, we've had Mummy remakes, we have all the classic horror monster characters remakes. This is gonna be the first one since then. It's actually made me a little excited. I'm excited to see if he changes up the creature a little bit, and how that's all gonna take place. Like, that's what kind of excites me is that it is a remake. I agree, some remakes should not be touched, but if it's anybody for me, at least now in horror, it's James Wan. Because I mean, I don't know about you guys. Saw, the ending of Saw, the first one, is to me one of the best twist
So
endings
good.
ever.
Yeah.
Like I still remember my jaw still dropped from back in the theater back home. I left it there. Like it's still back there.
I just rewatched that like last year.
Mhm.
I'd already seen it, and the twist still got me.
I love
I
those
completely fell
movies.
for it again.
And
So,
that's what makes me. That's again, he has built up such a great resume that you can almost trust what he does. I mean, Jordan, I don't think you've given full your thoughts. How are you feeling about it?
I'm excited. I liked Invisible Man. That I haven't seen a whole lot of his work, but I think having somebody that does have experience in horror, and then he has experience with Aquaman, so you kind of get that fantasy vibe. You also have, I missed it, Sean Toretta, who has experience writing for sci-fi. You do get all of those elements together. I think it has potential to be really good, and I think The Creature of the Black Lagoon. I'm with Jane. I'm not a big fan of remakes. I think if it's good the first time, leave it alone. But if you're going to remake it, that's a good character to remake. That's a good story.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Something else I wanted to bring up, in the article that we read, someone said that James Wan, his movies kind of have somewhat of a hidden symbol in them, like Invisible Man. I mean, it was very out there, but it is focusing on like domestic abuse and violence. What do you guys think this story, if he kind of continues hiding in those symbolisms, what do you think this one will have?
If I remember right, doesn't Creature of the Black Lagoon is like he more stalks a woman in a sense?
I think so.
Doesn't
I
if I
think
remember
so,
right, isn't
yeah.
that what he? So, the idea of voyeurism and stalking can probably play a factor because that's still prevalent in our society. Peeping toms and all that good stuff.
well,
So-
just the imagery of a creature under the surface of something. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much
Yeah.
you can do with that, and also just, I'm curious what he's going to do with the, I don't know, because how water's going to play into it. Is the main character going to be someone who likes fishing, is on like a lake or something?
Yeah.
I'm really curious how that's going to play a part, because obviously you can't just shoot it in the middle of New York or something like that,
Right.
It's got to, I mean, I guess there's sewers, but, it kind of has to have some sort of thing with that. So I'm really curious, and I think that'll be really unique, whatever he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, guys, let us know, what do you think of James Wan remaking The Creature of the Black Lagoon? You think there'll be any hidden symbolism? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
All right, well, let's move on here to our next one, which is scratching my head a little bit. According to Deadline, Jason Moore, who you know from Pitch Perfect, he was the director of that, is making a live-action animation hybrid of Rugrats for Paramount. Now, I don't know, did you guys grow up on Rugrats? Because I did.
I did not.
I mean, I grew up on it when it was first started, back when I was a kid. So I love the show. It's really fun for kids. Isaiah, I'm gonna throw it to you.
Yeah.
How do you feel if they were making maybe live action? I'm actually all for that. But a hybrid, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So I did grow up kind of with Rugrats and stuff like that. I loved, watching the movies and stuff with my parents. I am very confused about the hybrid. I'm worried that's going to look awkward. The first thing that comes to mind is something like Minecraft, where there is a hybrid. I think that's just recent in my brain. But I don't know. I'm not excited about it. And it seems like it's kind of like trying to, I guess, attract a new audience of kids. And a lot of companies are just moving away from hand-drawn animation, stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure it'll be interesting to look at, but it might be pointing and laughing rather than enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's a weird thing to make.
It's a very weird concept, at least for this. 'Cause, what are they gonna do? Have the Rugrats go into the real world, or
Yeah.
that doesn't?
I
don't
think
know.
it's gonna be creepy as heck.
Exactly.
This can't end well.
Yeah.
Which parts are gonna be real? Which parts are gonna be animated?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a live action Rugrat? Look at these babies. Do you want to see that in real life? I do not.
Oh God, having Angelica. Man, that was the first bully I ever came across watching TV. Jordan, you grew up watching Rugrats too.
A little bit.
A little bit,
Just a little bit.
just the idea alone. How are you feeling towards it?
I don't know. I think the concept is cool. I just don't know if Rugrats is the right way to go.
Mhm.
I don't. It's different, but I don't know how I feel about it.
SpongeBob, you could have gotten away with that. I can maybe
Yeah.
understand SpongeBob,
Maybe.
and of course you got Who Framed Roger Rabbit. that's something different. I don't know. For me, I like the idea that Jason Moore's doing. Pitch Perfect is a great franchise.
Love Pitch Perfect.
Love those movies.
It wasn't
It's
for
so
me.
good.
It wasn't for me, but as you can see right there,
So good.
It's so good.
it
so
wasn't for
good.
me. But as you
love
can
it.
tell, there's a big fan base, especially because he was the creator of that. So that's good at least. You know what I mean? Because I will say, from what I've seen, they were great. They're well directed. Just they weren't for me. So that gives me some hope. I'm left with this news. All I'm left is scratching my head. I guess we'll have to wait to see if more news comes out. I highly doubt there'll be a trailer. This they're just now developing it. I don't know. I will say it's making me a little worrisome because I don't know if that'll work, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think it also depends on who else is going to be in it, because you can do kind of an animated live action and it works with the right people. If you get actors that can't really bounce off of an animated object that's not there, then it might not work. But you can get some actors that they'll go with it.
Yep.
And they'll just like all in. So I think it really depends on who's going to be in it.
True. All right, folks. Well, that was kind of a short and sweet one, but again, it's kind of left scratching our heads. Just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention so we can kind of keep up on that news. What do you think of it, though? Are you all for a hybrid Rugrats, or should it just be live action, or should it just be animated? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, let's move on here now to trailers. We're talking trailers. First trailer we got up here is Companion. Now, initially, when we made the list Friday, we had our list ready to go. It was didn't include this trailer, but I saw this trailer at Joker, and then I was like, after I saw it, I just knew we had to talk about it because this really gives me like Midsommar, Don't Worry, Darling.
Darling, that's what I was gonna say.
What was the one you said? The Menu. Like, it gives me that feel, but it also like the ending with her hand in the fire. I'm like, it left me going, what is happening? But in a good way. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let's start off with you, Jaden. You saw the trailer. What did you think?
I'm very excited for this movie. I think these kind of movies are my favorite, like, genre of, like, horror thriller with, like, that
psychological aspect.
Yes, yes. I just feel like this is going to be a really good movie. And I don't think we've seen anything, like, really like it.
Yeah, I mean, from what we can tell, it could be very different. It does have that same vibe, what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
But again, I love the fact that this teaser didn't really give us much. It just gave us enough to wow us,
and
essentially.
Be confused.
Exactly, confused. I think that's what it was going for. Would you agree, Jordan?
Absolutely. I think it's going to look so cool. I love that it opens with the creators of The Notebook, and then we get this, and you're like,
so
what
good.
the heck is this? This is not The Notebook. But it does kind of look different than what we're seeing right now. I know on the show we talk a lot about remakes and reboots and all that, but it seems fresh. And I'm excited for it.
And I will preface that for anybody who might be listening to this on my channel or here on Red Digital, if you don't like the idea of remakes and you hate the idea of franchises, then go see something like this, because this is an original concept. Like, people are always like, I think you've heard a lot of people like hate the fact there's all these franchises. There's nothing original. Movies like this come out and nobody goes to see them.
Yeah.
So if you really like the idea of something original, go see this. Isaiah, you saw the trailer as well. What are your thoughts and takes on it?
So the main guy is Jack Quaid?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I know him from The Boys. That's the only thing I've seen him in. So that is what interests me, really, is he has this, like, villain role. And coming from The Boys, where he's kind of like, a puny little sidekick. I mean, he's the protagonist, but he's like the sidekick guy.
You never know. He could be the protagonist.
He's getting there,
Well, I mean, in this movie, we don't know if he could.
That's true.
I don't know. If
They
good guy in this one.
It's a weird. They could do a weird twist.
You
kind
never
of thing.
know. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So I don't know. It's I'm interested to see what he can do. They don't. I mean, they show him in these scenes, but he's very calm and collected. Except, I mean, you see him like smash the window, but it's like super quick. I really want to see how well he can act this, because
that's to me that's key. I agree.
Yeah, because the last few seasons of The Boys, a little bit rougher, and so I'm really excited to see him do something else, because I really do like him, and I don't want The Boys to drag him down, just in case that ends up not doing well. Final season's coming out, so
I'm excited.
I'm really interested to see if he can play this like menacing character. So far, it seems like he's kind of pulling off the dark silence, but I want to see if he can get angry, whether he can show off other kind of emotions. There's a few parts in The Boys where he can show more emotion, but this will give him a lot more freedom, I think.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because to me that's big. That's going to be a key for this one, because he is one of the main characters. Like, we've seen some of his dramatic range, but not a ton. This looks like it's going to need a lot of it.
Right.
So I think this is going to be a great test for him, because he comes from like royalty as far as in Hollywood. I mean, his father, who's Dennis Quaid, who's been in a ton of stuff. His mother. So yeah, I'm excited to see his range. Who I'm really excited about is the female, the actress who's the lead also, Sophia Thatcher, which, if you guys don't know where she's from, she was in the Book of Boba Fett. She had a small role, but she was really big in Yellow Jackets. Now, if anybody watching this, and you guys here at the table, if you guys have not seen Yellow Jackets on Showtime,
I haven't seen it.
oh my God, go watch it. It is so good. It's another psychological thriller, horror-esque type show. I'm really excited for season 2 to come out. I can't wait for it, honestly. But yeah, watch that show. It's really good. I trust in her because I've seen her range, and it's really wide.
Wow.
And she has really good, like we talk about in movies, how you have to have like these subtle acting spots in your facial expressions. She does that, and that's really big key for me for this one. And you actually kind of see it when she has her hand on fire, essentially, in that spot. I love that. One thing that's also curious to hear you guys about, like we saw it said the creators of Barbarian.
Yeah.
That's just it's Zachary Krager. He's only producing it. The director is someone named Drew Hancock, who actually gave the treatment for this movie. So it was his idea. But he, like, if you go to pull him up on Wikipedia or IMDb, he's only been in small stuff. Does that excite you guys, or does that worry you guys as far as in the hands of someone, this is his first major feature film?
I feel like he might be biting off too much that he can chew.
That's
But
right.
at the same time, I feel like he's got all of these supportive people around him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna be fine.
Fair?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the actual underlying story that we can see from the trailer isn't anything too crazy. I mean, it's kind of got the main girl, and it's a psychological horror. She goes through a lot of torture by, the male counterpart, and then at the end, she's probably going to, rise up and fight for herself. We kind of see that in the trailer. So I don't really feel like he's taking that much of a risk. I mean, it looks really cool, and the shots are really unique and interesting to me, but I feel like the underlying story is pretty simple. From what I can tell from the trailer, it might be completely different. So I don't know, I feel like it would be hard to mess up a movie like this
Fair.
as long as you follow, as long as he's seen horror movies and he understands.
Yeah.
I feel like it should work out just fine.
Yep. And I misspoke. Apparently, there's 2 seasons already of Yellow Jackets, but there's going to be season 3 coming out. That's what I meant to say. Season 3 is coming out soon. But what about you? Does that worry you at all that this is his first big one, or does that not phase you at all?
No, I'm really excited. I think, kind of like what Jaden said, the fact that he does have so many people around him that have done very good work I think it helps push his credit. And I think the fact that you saw the trailer in theaters does also, it shows that there's some good value in it going around.
Yeah, it's fair.
But it makes me really excited. I kind of like just giving new people their opportunity.
Same. All right, guys. Well, what did you think of the Companion trailer? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. What we got next?
Our next trailer is a remake of Nosferatu by Robert Eggers. He is remaking Nosferatu. I know Josh and I are going to differ so much on this, but I personally, I'm not excited. The trailer looks very scary, and I don't like scary movies, so it looks good, but I wasn't a big fan of The Lighthouse. I'm not a huge fan of his work that he does. I do think it has an amazing cast. I think Bill Skarsgård is going to do fantastic, but I'm a little hesitant on it. But Josh, I know you're like shaking in your seat. What are your thoughts?
I'm so ready for this. Like, and the fact it's coming out on Christmas Day I love that even more for some reason. You can tell he's probably trying to go for some Oscar nominations. I mean, I love, so I guess his horror is very niche to certain people. The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Northman's not really a horror movie, but The Northman again is a very niche action drama. So I will say his directing is an acquired taste. I will give you that. I love it personally, but it is an acquired taste. I'm so excited for this, and the fact that Bill Skarsgård is now playing the Nosferatu himself, like, just excites me so much. I cannot wait. This trailer, it's very Robert Eggers' tone and feel, so I kind of have a feeling of what we're getting into with this one. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm sorry you feel that way. I hate that you feel that way.
It's okay.
But so Nosferatu, the original, 1922, I believe is when it came out.
Yeah.
Is one of, we might have to double check that one, so I don't want to
Misspoke.
whatever, however you want to phrase it. However, words and such. One of my favorite classic movies of all time. I love that movie so much. It's a silent film. There's so much visual acting into it. I love it. So the fact that they're doing it now, and that's why with Robert Eggers' hands, it excites me, because if you know the tone of the original, it's kind of what he does as far as his movies. So, what about you, Jaden?
I had never heard of this before.
No?
Not once. And I probably won't go see it. This isn't my cup of tea.
Fair.
The old not medieval, but that
Victorian times. Victorian. I think it's
yeah. That's I
Not
don't like those things, and I think it's kind of creepy, but I don't think it's gonna draw me in. So I probably won't go see it.
How do you feel about Bill Skarsgård playing Count Orlok?
I really hope they make him look like the original.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really want them to get weird with it and make him look super uncanny.
Just get weird with
it. Like with it, he does look. He's intimidating, but it doesn't give me that feeling that the original did, because I must have seen it when I was I want to say 14. I saw the original Nosferatu, and I'd never seen an older movie like that before. That was the first silent kind of film I saw, and I think I saw it on October, somewhere around there, and it freaked me out. I was in a classroom of people, and it still freaked me out. And so I don't know. They don't show him in the trailer directly, which I love.
I love that. Yeah.
I really love that, and that kind of gave me hope. So I just really hope they respect the classic and give me that same weird feeling that it gave me. There's not a whole lot of horror that does that, because there's it's not I'm not really I get affected by jump scares. Obviously I jump, but there's a very rare couple movies that I have that have really gotten me in that way. So I'm excited. I love the setting. The characters seem interesting.
The characters are very different from the original. But I mean, there was an interview with Robert Eggers, and he was asked why he's doing this, and I guess to him it was in one of his favorite horror movies of his childhood, and he always wanted to make his own version of it, but respect the original. So that also gives me hope as well, at least for me. I can't wait. I mean, I'm excited for it. It's coming out really soon, honestly, which shocks me. But I hope it gets some awards. I do.
Yeah, I think if that's your kind of horror that you like, you'll probably love it. And I feel bad hating on it, knowing that
it's fine.
He really wanted to make it.
That's fine.
But I mean, I think he visually he does good work. I personally am just not a fan, but I'm glad that you are a fan.
It's him, Ari Aster, and who is the other one who's really big? I'll look it up, but there's 3 horror directors that modern horror directors that are really big right now, that I'm all in on anything they do, pretty much.
Yep. Well, guys, let us know what you think of the remake of Nosferatu. Are you a Robert Eggers fan? Let us know in the comments. And since we're talking about Nosferatu, which is a classic movie monster, our discussion for today is our favorite classic movie monsters from, I think we said roughly 1920s to 1990s. Ish.
Yeah, so it'd be 1920s, because you gotta count. If you're gonna count Carl Orlok, you gotta be in there, because it was 1922. I was right. I'm happy about that. But I mean, even though it hurts me to say 1990s is quote unquote classic, because that hurts me, because I'm whatever. We're gonna count that as, because you can say after 2000s, you're getting into more modern ones.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
there's
good,
definitely
great
a
modern
shift
ones.
somewhere. Yeah,
definitely a shift. So we'll kind of stick to the classics. So. Whoever wants to start first, give us some of your favorites that kind of pop out to you, because I got a list.
I got a list.
Me too.
Well, so we actually have it on the screens behind us. The first thing that came to mind was Gojira from 1954.
Yeah.
That came to mind because I just recently we watched Godzilla 0, right? Or Godzilla
-1.
-1, yeah.
It's so good.
-1.
Just rewatched that
so
a month ago.
I watched that, and I actually went back to the original to rewatch it, because it's kind of a spiritual successor in a way, and it still holds up. It's so good, and the American movies are fine, I think, for Godzilla, but they don't give me that same like horror existential dread that
That's
the original
totally fair.
does.
But I find it funny. People were like, when the 2014 version came out, they were hating because, like, oh, you don't really see Godzilla that much. He's hardly in the movie. Did you see the original movie? He's hardly in the movie.
it.
Like, wait, what are you talking about? But yeah, continue.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, that's like why I liked -1 as well, is because they show like the inner politicking a little bit.
Yep.
And if you watch the original, that's a big part of it. Is you see all these government and scientist people fighting, and you know that human conflict is still at the center of it. And then there is obviously the monster, but yeah, I think that's kind of my opinion. Like even with when we were talking about Nosferatu, I think the monster should be hidden for a long time and then slowly bring it in. And at its heart, it should be a human conflict.
Yep.
That's my problem with a lot of horror movies, you know, nowadays, is that it's a monster. It's a man versus nature thing, you know, and that's not very compelling to me. So Godzilla, definitely.
Good one. That's a great one. Which you got any come to mind?
I'm gonna do the classic It.
Pennywise.
Pennywise,
Yeah.
because I love Stephen King, his old stuff, his new stuff. I don't think there's a bad one out there, really.
Now where people realize that he is a monster creature, like
He
Yeah.
is.
at his core. That's a good one. Ooh, he stole that one. I'm gonna go real deep cut here. I'm gonna do the winged monkeys from The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh,
I wouldn't have even
interesting.
thought
I
about
would've- yeah,
that,
I
to be
would've
honest.
guessed
I guess
that.
they're
I
kind of
would not have guessed
classic.
that.
They're really fun. I remember. I mean, they never scared me, but I had a cousin who was around my age. Like, they scared the crap out of her when she was a kid. So, like, especially when they ripped the scarecrow to shreds.
Yeah.
So that one to me, that was a good one. What you got one?
I was gonna say Pennywise, because I personally think without Tim Curry's Pennywise, we wouldn't have Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise.
true.
But another one that I put, which is kind of just a complete classic, is Freddy Krueger. I
Oh.
think it's just
Would you count him? I guess you kind of count him as a
he
creature.
could be. What else
He's
would
a
he be?
cre-
If he's not a monster, what is he?
Entity.
Entity.
Okay.
No,
He's a monster.
What are our
we'll
favorite
allow it, we'll
entities?
allow it.
He's a monster. That's not my only one, but he's a monster. But that one's scary to me.
Because we were talking about, because I think you said before.
Yeah, because I had another one, and I was like, is this a monster? Is this a human? What do we...
is a ghost face.
Ghostface was what I was
Ooh.
gonna
He's more of a
put.
serial killer. He's a human being.
Yeah.
I don't count him
Yeah.
as a monster.
So now we're like, what's a
Yeah.
monster?
I feel like he's so human though, in
Yep.
the way he
Yeah,
scares people.
exactly.
He's probably human.
Yeah, I
That's
would.
why
Yeah.
I left off, which, you know, it's a little foreshadowing for next week's discussion, but I left off Michael Myers because he's called the Shape. He's an entity. You can argue if he's, you know, a monster creature or not. So I left him off my list. Another one for me that's fun. You guys ever remember the movie Tremors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
yeah,
All those things
yeah.
are cool. Those things are so much fun. I love those.
What about the monster from Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah, all the.
Audrey?
Yes.
Audrey too?
Yes.
That's a good one.
That's a real good
That's
one.
a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Audrey too. That's a. You got another one?
You got another one?
Honestly, not a whole lot. I really haven't seen. I was kind of going back and looking at movies, but I haven't really seen a lot of them. To be honest, I almost chose Nosferatu also as one,
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
1920s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen that many classic ones. So
I
I
mean-
might say Nosferatu, the classic, is. I would consider him so
So classic.
classic, and also just so. I keep using uncanny just because he is he is like sort of human, but if you see it, you're not gonna think he's
Yep.
human. He's like he's an entity.
Yep.
If we're gonna keep using that.
And so we can already, I guess we can get these out the way. Of course, you got your classic ones. You got your Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, you know, all the Wolfman, all those universal classics. I think we can all agree those are just like the obvious choices. But do you have any ones that are kind of like
Kind of odd.
Well,
Well,
out
now
there?
I'm questioning what's a monster. I'm going to say him anyway. My odd ones, I had two. The Phantom from the Phantom of the Opera. I feel like he... Just let me have it. Let me have it. He's
okay.
a monster. It's
Okay.
fine. Just let me have it. I have that one because I think he helped push kind of the monster movement. And he's a monster. Let me have it. Mr. Hyde from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I will give you Mr. Hyde.
Thank you.
That is like that's
I
definitely
still
a
think
monster.
Freddy Krueger's a monster. I don't care.
Some other ones, you guys, it's a movie called Critters, the little aliens that come down, and it's an old horror movie.
No.
It's not that great of a franchise, but they're really cool little creatures. One big one, The Thing from The Thing, is a really awesome
seen The
creature.
Thing.
You've never seen The
I
Thing?
don't think I've seen The Thing.
Got homework for you now.
Okay. Yes, sir. Got it.
The 1983 one is just so good. Of course, you got the Alien Queen from Aliens, or just the Alien in general. Predator is right there. It's a really great one.
Who's the big white puffy guy from?
The Stay Puft Marshmallow from Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, is that Ghostbusters? Okay.
Yeah, because Zool,
I have no
who's
idea.
Yeah,
who's,
that's the demon
the
fridge.
demon,
Yeah.
he summons him to destroy the world, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, but of course the Ghostbusters stop him. What else did I have?
Are we counting Dracula as a monster?
I would count Dracula as a monster.
Then if Dracula's a monster, because I know Addie's a big fan, David from The Lost Boys was
I
another
will count
one
David
on
from
my
Lost
list.
Boys.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I can't count that one because that one's 1992, so we can't count that one.
We're
I'm like
counting
going
it
through my
anyway.
list.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well,
We
it was
can
the
do it
T1. It was a
anyway.
T1000 from T2.
That's okay.
Let's see what else we have. I can't think of it. Those are kind of the ones I kind of run out of.
Yeah, Xenomorph is definitely my favorite. One of my favorite designs. Just flat out. H.R. Geiger
Xenomorph
is
awesome.
insane. If you look at any of his art, it immediately puts you in that world. And yeah, Aliens is just my favorite. The first Alien, not Aliens, is just one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And it's super freaky. Like I love the design of it. It also just the face huggers as well.
Oh, the face huggers are so good.
Both of them are so disturbing to just think about, and watching it is way worse.
They were awesome in Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
I got 3 more, then we'll wrap up tonight. Of course, we got E.T. He's sitting right here. We got to count him. We have, oh man, I lost my other one. Oh well. Last one for me is the Gremlins.
Oh yeah.
You got to count them.
Yeah.
I mean, I want if I could have one, I would put one on the table. I would love to have one. But any more before we wrap up, guys? I think we had a pretty good list there.
I think that's all mine.
That's all, yeah. It's a great. Jordan came up with the idea, and she's got quite a few more coming up.
I did.
Next week, hopefully we'll find a way to segue into it. We're going to be giving, for our discussion of the week next week, our favorite serial killers.
Movie serial killers.
Movie serial killers. That one's going to be a lot of fun. We can maybe include TV ones, maybe.
Okay.
Because Dexter comes to mind for me.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes to mind
TV
there.
and movie.
But all right, guys, that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. More importantly, what was some of your classic movie monsters that we may have left off? Leave your comments section below and let us know your thoughts down there. Also, if you like our content and you like what we provide, hit the like button, punch the subscribe channel so you receive all of our great content we have for you here on Red Digital. Make sure you like, share, comment, all that good stuff down below. And this was a great time. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you guys next time. I'm Josh Williams.
I'm Jordan Burke
I'm Jaden Romeo.
I'm Isaiah Townley.
And thank you for keeping it real.
with ReelTime.